Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you to my 10 subscribers. I hope you're all doing really well. So I wanted to do just a short reading right now. I've had some new cards, Earth and Bone that they're called. I love these. I've got them ready for like Halloween, Samhain, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to just get into a reading with these and see. I don't really have a specific message coming through at the moment for this as to what it is, but I will just say before I start recording this video, I've realised where I sit, I kind of perch myself right on the end of my sofa bed. When I've got all of this space I could use, and I always perch myself on the end and then try and angle the camera, and I was like, why do I do that to myself? It's almost like, so some of you might be resonating with making things harder for yourself. That could be in any way, shape or form, but maybe sometimes you just kind of make things a little bit more difficult for yourself than they need to be. Just realising and recognising if you do that, if you're with me, if you resonate with that. I always think sometimes the collectives usually are people that are very similar to ourselves. So I do feel many of you could resonate with that. Anyway, I'm not going to keep chattering on. I'm going to actually get into this reading now. So let's see what card resonates with your energy right now. Where are you at this point in time? What is coming out for you? Trinity. So the power of 3. Balancing decisions, priorities and adapting to change. So some of you may be going through some changes at the moment. It's interesting, there's 3 wolves on there as well, which is making me think about the goddess Hecate. So that might be something related to you. Perhaps you are into witchcraft. Maybe that is a deity that really does resonate with you. But there is something about this power of 3. Now, for some of you, it could be that you always find yourself in a 3. Maybe when you've always had friendships and things, you've always found yourself being part of a 3. It's never been you and one other person. Now, for some of you, this could be what's happening in terms of relationship as well. Maybe there is, and that's what I was saying about that perching on the end of the chair and things like that. It's like you're never fully in something. You always feel like you're a third of something, or you're like not fully like a half, you're a quarter, that kind of thing. So balancing decisions, priorities and adapting to change. I am going to look in the book for this. Now 3 is also the number of the Empress, and the Empress is all about attracting. She embodies that nurturing kind of energy where she just sits back and she attracts. She doesn't really make much of an effort to really have to go and grab after what she wants, you know. She sort of just sits in her power. She doesn't kind of try and have a power over anything. She just attracts it. So this is all about, when you have so many wishes, focus on manifesting one at a time. Your energy may be too spread out. Keep in mind, not every wish may be a blessing. Weigh the pros and cons and hyper focus on one. Prioritize your energy to meet one goal and move on once achieved. You may be needing to pivot if what you're seeking isn't aligned with your greatest good. So you might need to really assess whether what it is that you are manifesting in your life right now, is it for your greater good? Are you actually happy with it? Because if you're one of those people that always was one of a 3, or maybe you're finding that now in your friendships, you're always one of a 3. Why is that? Why do you feel, maybe you sometimes just fall into, oh, well, this is what's happening, so I'm going to just allow that, rather than actually saying what you really want and what you really need, and then a bit later on down the line. So for some of you, I feel like this is that you kind of dip your toes into things. You kind of test the water, or you're in something, but you never fully commit to it just in case you want out. So it's like, if I'm not fully in it, it's a lot easier for me to back out of it. So for some of you, I feel like that is the energy that we are talking about today. So let's just get into your runes on this and see what we have. Yeah, this is the relationship with yourself that we're talking about. You are repairing something within that relationship. Like, you're no longer wanting to be a third. You're wanting to be a whole. Not even a half. You want to be a whole. There is a rebirth. And it's interesting because this book, it says, honor the concepts of rebirth and transformation. So maybe this deck came through today for you because it is meant for you to understand the rebirth that you're going through. Whoever's watching this video, you are going through a transition at this time. You're going through some form of rebirth, whether that is in your relationships, whether that's in your career, whether that's in your home life. Whatever it is, there is a particular rebirth going on, and it's something to do with you feeling like you're always a third. Trust. Now, for some of you, this is about trusting yourself to fully commit to something, to fully put yourself into something. Maybe this is being asked of you in your relationships. Maybe you're being asked for more, and you're recognizing and realizing that you're actually not fully committed. It might be that you've been asked to take more responsibility on at work, and you're realizing, like, I'm not actually fully committed to this. I'm just here to earn some money. I don't actually want to involve myself. Or in your social circles, you know, you've been asked to take on some kind of responsibility with organising something, and it might be that you're like, I don't really trust myself to do this, or I'm not sure I want that kind of commitment. So you might be really soul searching here at this time and recognising, actually, what part do I want to play? How much do I want to be in this? Do I want to be a third, or do I want to be more than a third? Do I want more than that? So let's get into the cards and see your current situation right now. What is this current situation? Oh, we had 2 cards come out there. Interesting. So there is a need for surrendering here. There's a need to surrender to something. It's interesting because a video I did this morning, it's so funny how there is always a theme to the day, but it was about sacrifice. And it was about how you might need to sometimes make a sacrifice for the greater good, but you're resisting that sacrifice. So your current situation is very push-pull. It's very, like, part of you wants to take a different perspective. Part of you wants to see things from a different viewpoint. But then part of you wants to just stay in that kind of self-containment. But you know that there is a need for rebirth. You know that there is a need for something to change here, there needs to be some kind of death and then some kind of rebirth. And until you allow for that death, until you allow for that process to happen, you're not going to get the rebirth. And this is kind of why your energy, you might be feeling a little bit stagnant or stuck at this time, is because you're stuck between that new perspective, that surrendering to something, and then being defensive about it. Okay. So what is it that you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of for this? Okay, so what you need to let go of here is, it's almost like you're trying to prevent change. You're trying to prevent things from changing, but you are really feeling that things are changing. It's a little bit like, I'm going to use an analogy like when you're renting a house and you know at some point the landlord is going to kick you out. You know at some point they're going to want to sell that house, or you're going to have to leave. And it's getting to that point where it's already happened, or you've had the letter to say you've got 2 months to leave, you're going to have to go, and you kind of don't want to accept that. It's almost like you've got the opportunity to see a fresh start, to see a new way of living. You can see it, the change that could occur, but you don't want to, because you want to hold on to the place where you've always been. It's comfortable there. But you know there's coming a point where you're going to have to let go of that, where you're going to have to change things. And it's all aligned with your fate. We have many paths of destiny that we can choose, but ultimately they all lead to the same fate. And this is almost like Spirit's way of saying, you've run out of avenues now. We're going to keep pushing until you actually take this, until you make this change. And this is part of the initiation process that they're kind of putting you through. Is like, you know that there is a rebirth happening. You know that there is a lesson going on to do with that relationship with yourself. You know, really honouring yourself, honouring who you are, being fully committed to the path that you're on and the person that you are. You know, we can't be half-assed here. We can't be just a quarter here. We want to be a whole. And for some of you, you're struggling with the concept of that. You're struggling with the permanence of that, is what I'm feeling from here. So you're not feeling very enthusiastic about making these changes. In fact, for some of you, you're kind of just in that kind of egg, if you like. You're keeping yourself in some kind of egg, some kind of cave. You don't want to come out. So, what do you need to focus on at this time? What do you need to focus on at this time? Okay. We have Temperance in the reverse position. So this could be that you at the moment, I feel like you kind of jumping from one thing to the next, almost like a distraction. Because you're not really seeing the purpose in anything at this time. So what you need to focus on here is having patience. Is slow down, slowing things down. You're not really being truthful to yourself. You're not really being honest with yourself here. Sorry if this is coming across quite brutal, but maybe you're watching this video because you needed to hear this. You needed to know this today. Yeah, you've been feeling, perhaps you haven't been sleeping very well, or at night you've been feeling quite upset. But there's an end coming to that. So it's focusing on pulling yourself out of this space, you know. Sometimes we can sit so much in our self-pity almost, of like, you know, this is part of the ego self, you know. We have our self-confidence, our self-esteem and our self-pity. And it's a very human thing to do, to sit in our self-pity, you know. Sometimes it's necessary for us to understand our feelings and how we, you know, how things are impacting us, how they're affecting our lives. But you can't stay there. And this is where your energy is at right now. You know this. You already understand that. And you are quite a positive, forward-thinking person. You don't normally dwell in self-pity. You sit there sometimes, but you don't dwell in it. But there's something in your energy right now. I feel like for some of you, perhaps you do maybe have a struggle at the moment with how you are mentally with things. And there is a need for you to just, yeah, pull yourself through from that. So let's see. You are on the brink of a wish being fulfilled at this time, okay? But you have to let go and allow this change to occur in order for this to come in. Because right now, for some of you, you're holding on to something from the past. You're holding on to something that is sentimental, but actually holding you back, not allowing you to move forward. And it's something that you never really feel fully in. You never feel like you're committed to it, whether that is on you or whether this is on whatever this situation is. You never really feel like it's fully for you. And you want to feel like something is fully for you. This is part of you building that relationship with yourself, okay? You want something to be concluded here. You want some kind of conclusion. It feels to a pattern that keeps repeating, and you're not feeling like it's fully something that you can commit to. And commitment is the word that keeps coming through. Like, that's what you want. It's like that's really what you want, but you're choosing things that kind of keep you on the outskirts of that. And you're sick of games. You are sick of playing games, whether this is maybe somebody playing mind games with you, or lying to yourself. You know, you're not fully complete in what you're doing right now and in where you're at. And that needs to change. There is definitely this energy of something needing to really change on this. I want to see what your strengths are at this time. What are your strengths in this situation? We've got the Eight of Swords in the reverse position. So your strengths are getting yourself out of those binds, basically. You need to communicate this. There is this energy of taking the lead. Okay, that is your strength. You do have the ability to take the role of the leader. Again, this is something, a reading that I did this morning that was about being the leader of your own life. You know, you're the main actor in your life. Okay, you are not the audience. Well, you're both really, but right now you need to take that lead. You need to pull yourself out of the self-sabotage. You need to pull yourself out of this feeling restricted, feeling like you can't do what you want to do or move in the way that you want to move, because you can. You so have the ability. This is your strength, okay? You do have the strength to do that. You know, look, that's only really thin. Nothing's really holding her back but herself. It's kind of like telling yourself, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Like, oh, well, it's not going to work out for me, so why should I bother? Well, maybe you feel like you're in a third party situation, or like you're one of a three constantly, or just that third in something rather than a whole, is because you won't allow yourself to be anything more. But you do have the ability to be more than that. And this is what your strengths are coming out as. Now, for some of you, you have a real gift of the gab. You have a way of saying things that really does help people, that really does inspire people. And I do feel that when somebody kind of takes your advice, you love it. You absolutely love it. And Spirit are telling me that you need to do something more with that. You're not doing much with that. If you did do more with that, and you committed to something that you know is a wish fulfillment, where's that star gone? You know, something that you're really wishing for, that you really feel would fulfill you. And part of you standing up in that power, being that leader, is bringing this 10 of Pentacles, which is permanence. This is stability. This is long-term commitment. You know, the 10 of Pentacles talks about leaving behind a legacy. So it's where, you know, you're creating something now that is still going to be available to people when you're not even here. So for some of you, this could be actually building a family. And that is something that you want. Now, if you're in the kind of relationship where it's hot and cold, it's on, it's off, there's no real stability to it, you can't create a family in that environment. So if you really desire that, if that's what you want, then you've got to be honest with yourself. Being in a third party situation doesn't work for you because you want more permanence. You want something more stable. You know, balancing decisions, priorities, adapting to change. You know that this needs to change to fulfill your wishes, to fulfill what you need. Again, that 3 of Pentacles, you know. You need to work on something in the kind of situation. I don't want to say relationship because I don't feel it is a relationship for everybody. For some it is. But you want to work on the kind of relationship where you're pulling together with somebody with the same beliefs, with the same values, with the same strengths. And if there are a difference in strengths and weaknesses, you support each other. And I don't feel like you've really been in that, or you don't feel like you have. And so it's almost like someone's keeping their options open and not fully committing to something, but actually deep down wanting to fully commit to something. If that resonates with you, please do pop an emoji down in the comments. And my email address is down there if you do want to get in touch and book a personalised reading, or even do a healing session with me to go through this with you. I'd be happy to do that. So let's see what advice we have for you on this. What advice? Ooh, we have truth, first of all. The advice is coming out. There's 3 cards. The Trinity again. So the advice here is about bring some truth. The truth will bring balance to your current situation, to what's going on in your life right now. You've been hurt before. You've kind of had to move along, I feel, on many occasions. There may even be like 9 situations that you can think of that you've had to kind of like, you haven't fully committed to or put yourself fully in because you knew it wasn't going to last long. But there's something here, it feels like the advice is there is something that you have been growing. There's something that's been actually quite stable and that is rooted. You know, this seed that was planted some time ago. And I'm getting the month of July for that. I don't feel like that was maybe this July, but could have been the July before. So it's been over a year ago that you planted this seed and it grew. It grew to a point where I feel like you can actually see it now. And you're debating, do I keep watering this or do I just let it die? And it's because of this feeling of where you've been hurt so many times before that you've kind of always dipped your toe in, been a third but not a whole. But that flame's always been there, it feels. So there's some kind of truth coming out about that. So that's the advice here is like, you know, speak some truth to yourself. What is your true thoughts and feelings on this? It's almost like this. I keep wanting to put this one in front of these two. So it's like, yeah, there's this and you're aware of it, but where's the truth? Bring the truth forward. Bring some balance into this by speaking the truth. It always makes me think of like Kill Bill, like, you know, the samurai. And that's about like, you know, being disciplined with yourself on all levels. Can be painful to start with, but over time it becomes cognitive. It becomes sort of just second nature. And I feel like that's where you're at right now, is you're in this self-container. You're taking some time to really observe yourself and how you are going about things, the things that you're doing. You are trying. You really are. And I can see this. You're trying to get that balance. You're trying to bring that truth forward. But it's hard because you've always kind of just been 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You know, the hokey cokey kind of energy. But now, okay, we've got the Lovers on the bottom of there. Now it feels like there's a choice to be made. There's a decision. There's some kind of choice that needs to be made here. And for some of you, it can be to do with love. It can be to do with relationships. This is about maybe if you haven't felt fully committed to something, you want to fully commit to it now. Or that realization of like, I'm not fully committing to this, or I don't feel like this is giving to me what I need from it. So therefore I'm going to move away from it. Okay, so what are your strengths? No. What am I looking for? Something fell out anyway on there. As I said, strengths. Strength card came out. Your strengths are strength, okay? You have got so much strength, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You've been through such a lot. But one thing that you have always struggled with, I feel, is about vulnerability or feeling safe to be vulnerable in particular situations, okay? Eros is a rune of trusting yourself in relationships, trusting yourself in the relationship with yourself. And for many of you, this is what this journey is all about. This is what this rebirth is all about, is trusting how you feel about things. Trusting that you can be vulnerable in certain situations because you know yourself so well. You know what you want, you know what you need, and you are able, you feel safe enough to express that, to let that out. For some of you, you just need some time. You need time more to heal. But you're putting yourself in situations where you're feeling unfulfilled, but it's kind of filling a gap. but it isn't quite what you want. It's not quite what you want. Somebody sleeps like this as well, I feel, or you're finding yourself sleeping with your arms up above your head. And I'm sure I read something about that once, about that being like different sleep positions, how you sleep and what that means about you. And it was something about vulnerability in that. So maybe look that up if that is you, if that resonates with you. Okay, hopes and fears. That's what I was going to look at. What are your hopes and fears at this time? What are your hopes and fears? Okay, we have the Emperor. So maybe your hopes and fears mirror each other. So you're hoping for power. You're hoping for that stability. You're hoping to win. But maybe your fear is that you are taking too much power. Somebody here wants to strive for balance. Somebody here wants some kind of balance. You want to come across as being on top of everything. You want to come across as being stable and secure. But the fear is that you are coming across as being arrogant or above yourself, that kind of thing. And I do sense somebody having a bit of a battle with themselves, like we did at the beginning, remember? You're having this battle with yourself about being the leader and then feeling like you need to kind of defend yourself. So it's like a push-pull constantly that's going on within your mind. And for some of you, you might be like thinking, well, I feel like I'm sort of bipolar or something. I feel like this today and then this tomorrow. And I feel like some of you are very, very confused about how to find that personal power, how to stand in that power. We have the Eight of Wands on the bottom. So it's like I'm getting this energy of somebody wanting to rush in and communicate something here, but at the same time not really knowing what to say, or if that's going to make things worse, if it's going to create that defensive energy again. It's like you want to communicate, but maybe your communication comes across in a way, or you feel like it's coming across in a way you're not sure how to communicate yourself in the way that you want to. So what do you need to do about that? Some of you, I feel like you've kind of left somebody on red almost, like perhaps you've been having a conversation here and you're not sure what to say back, so you sort of like just left it there. The Lovers come out again. Yeah, this, for some of you, this is definitely about a relationship, I feel. Like some kind of soulmate connection, if you believe in that sort of thing. I'm not going to talk about twin flames. I don't really think that's relevant here. I feel like it's more to do with a connection that is important to you. And you want to come at this in the right way. You feel things are changing. You know that things are changing. You know that something needs to change. Remember that Trinity on here. So for some of you, I feel like you're in a situation where you feel like the third wheel. You feel like maybe somebody isn't fully committing to you, or you're not fully committing to them. And you want more. That's what I'm getting from this. So this is that energy of like being true to yourself, honouring that fact of like, I actually want more from this. I want more from this. But then how do I go about getting more from this? And it's that realisation of like, well, you know, you're at this kind of crossroads, but if this isn't working for me, I have to make a decision. I have to make a choice. And that is another thing that the Lovers represents. The Lovers card represents choices. And you can either always choose you in any situation, okay? Always choose yourself. If something feels like it's not giving to you what you need, you know, if you want commitment from something and it's not committing to you, choose commitment to yourself, okay? For some of you, I feel like you are kind of in a bit of a, not no contact, but just a bit of a separation perhaps with somebody that feels important to you. And you might be struggling here to make this choice or decision because you're constantly waiting to see if things will change. but it doesn't feel like things are changing. It feels like you're at this constant crossroads, and that's what you need to get out of. So how do you get out of that? Well, how you get out of it, it's interesting. The Empress is number 3, and I was talking about the Empress at the beginning, if you remember. And that Trinity is 3, obviously. So you might be seeing a lot of 3s at the moment. So what you need to do about this is you need to make a decision towards unconditional love, towards what brings you unconditional love. Now, if that is actually nestling down into family because that's where you feel unconditional love, or this is something else completely new that feels like unconditional love, that's what you need to run towards. That's what you need to communicate here. And it does feel like you've had this realization almost of what brings unconditional love into your life, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. It's like you're rushing towards that. You're rushing to communicate this, and you are kind of being asked to do that. Now, for some of you, this is about you making a decision that is about unconditional love for yourself. You know, if there's been an opportunity arise, you need to run towards that. You need to communicate it clearly. For some of you, this is actually a new start. It is the beginning of starting a family. We had that 10 of Pentacles as well, didn't we, before? Which is kind of suggesting, you know, there is something commitment-wise and long-term that you've realised you really want. And you've decided now that that is what you want. But something feels like it's time to get that get that ball rolling now, get that movement there, because not that it's not going to be available to you, but, you know, things don't sort of stick around forever, do they? So if you're kind of dragging your feet on something because you're unsure, then you may find that it's gone. It's not available to you anymore by that point. So if there's something that you feel brings you that unconditional love, that you feel, I actually want to take a chance and commit to this, then it's time. It is time. So what is your outcome on this? What is your outcome? July is a significant month on this as well. Your outcome here is collaboration. Now we're back onto the 3s again. 3 is just a very prominent number in this. Now, I actually feel like somebody is running towards maybe a connection that is from the past, that is a reuniting of something, a reignition of something that perhaps you thought all was lost, but through communication, you've realised maybe it's not. It's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of work, but it feels like you're ready for this. You're ready to, you're kind of expressing yourself in this. Yeah, this is something that is bringing healing to a past wound from a painful breakup, is what I feel. 3-3 on the clock. I can't believe that. You can't make this stuff up. 3-3 is an important number for whoever's watching this. I'm just going to get one more card for you. Yeah. You're done with feeling down. You're done with feeling like you haven't got enough. You're done with feeling disappointed. And you know that there's something in your life that is attainable to you, that if you just reach out and work on that relationship with yourself, be honest with yourself, be truthful to yourself about what it is that you want to commit to, you can bring yourself out of that disappointment and into something wonderful for you. Okay, it really does feel like that. And we have the Ace of Cups. So there is a new beginning. For some of you, this is a new beginning in love. This can be a reunion, or it could be a completely fresh start, but it feels like it's something that you know is available to you, is coming in, and you're sick of playing in the shallows now, feeling like a third wheel, feeling like a third party. You're ready to let go of the burdens of the past. You're ready to let go of the struggles. You're not going to hold yourself back anymore. You're ready for this. So if you needed to know that today, and if that's what you were looking to hear, then this is your video. I'm going to leave this here for you. If that resonates with you and you would like to book a personalised reading, my details are down in the description box. So please do get in touch. I'm also offering 2 question readings for £10 at the moment as well. And you do get quite a quick response from those also. Have a blessed day.